Hello everybody, what's going on? This is the Random 951, finally back with another video. It's been a long time and I finally just had some time to where I wanted to bring you guys a video and just get back to see if I could start posting a bit more periodically. And yeah, it's been quite of a break for me. So let's start with the video. As you can see here, we're on OfferUp. We're looking at this ad. So this is a PS4 Pro God of War special edition. I've been having my eye on the PS4 Pro models that are special edition. So I already have my Spider-Man one. You guys probably saw that one. That's my most recent video, and cleaning that one out is kind of restoring that PS4 Pro Spider-Man edition. And that's kind of the only other one I've wanted out of the PS4 Pro special editions. There is a lot of just in general PlayStation 4s that are special edition. So as you can see, the owner was asking $150, previously $200. I messaged them, see if they're willing to work out price. We ended up being able to settle on $120, and as you can see, it's sold, and as you can see, I have it right here. So kind of sucks because for $120 I was only able to get the system. I got the original controller, which is nice. You can see it's a little dirty, but the joysticks seem pretty good. Seemed like they weren't really used too much. But yeah, you can see here's the controller. Still got some charge in it. It's like a little blue light in it. So yeah, I picked this up for $120. I'll probably turn it on, test it for you guys. You can see how it looks, running and everything. See, it's got some wear, it's got some scratches, mostly a lot of those scratches here and there. But most of the like the detail or the little decal is intact, which is good. And I already popped off the lid right here, so we'll just take a look under. Just give me a second here. As you can see, it's just a little dusty, you know. These things collect dust. They're like little vacuum cleaners. They suck in the dust and they kind of just get dirty. As you can see here, I'm not sure if this was already open. It might have been, because there's something right here. It looks like, almost looks like, I don't know, like some sort of like candy. But you can see it's pretty dusty. I don't think it's been open yet. Let's kind of check for the security tab. There might be. Hopefully that's still intact. I didn't really check. So good news is the security tab seems to be in place still. You do not have to open that security tab to get to this part. This just kind of lifts up and you're able to vacuum. So I don't know what's going on with this, what that is. That looks like candy, but I'm just gonna take this all apart and I will be showing you guys how that looks. But first I'm gonna go ahead and plug it in and make sure it works. So see if I could do that real quick. I'll be back. All right, everybody, so we're back. Currently, I am working on disassembling the God of War Pro PS4. Got some stuff downloading on the PlayStation. And like I said, this is PS4 Pro. I mean, excuse me, this is just the regular launch like type model PS4, because it doesn't have the clicky buttons. These are like haptic feedback. And it's been going for like about, I don't know, an hour now. You can't even hear the fan. And even when you play games, the fan runs like steady. It's not like real loud or anything. Right now I have the God of War controller, what do you call it, charging. So I took this apart and it looks kind of like, it looks like something spilled down here. You can see there's like some sort of, looks like liquid or something that might have gotten through here, but I don't see any like rust or any water damage. Well, there is something here actually, if you notice. There is like stuff here. I don't know what that's from, but there is stuff that went along the whole PS4. These little holes you can see, so maybe it might have not gotten into it too much. And then there doesn't seem to have been many roaches. You can see in the corner there's like one bug here. I'm pretty sure that's a roach. So I don't know, maybe at one time they sprayed the raid or something. Yeah, so I'm gonna continue disassembling this and start vacuuming. And you can see, oh yeah, look, there's a little roach right there. I think that's a roach. Yeah, never fun to clean. Usually find some crazy stuff in here. All right, guys, so we'll continue and I'll update you in a little bit. All right, guys, so we are back. I have flipped over the PS4 onto its back, and I just took off the plate that covers the power supply, and I just took off the screw, which along with clips around the power supply holds it together. So I always like doing this because sometimes you'll find some interesting things here. So give me a second. Sorry guys, so let me just show you real quick. So here is the power supply without the plastic covering. It's pretty good. There's not really a lot of dust here, so as you can see, pretty dust free. A lot of times you'll find roaches in here too, because there's an opening on the back. So this will be the back of the PS4, and this is the opening, very large opening where you know, little critters could crawl behind and enter your PS4. And in some cases I've heard of roaches causing the PS4s to like short circuit because of getting zapped if they get too close to these little components in here. So there's not really anything to worry about in here. I think the last PS4 Pro I cleaned was pretty bad, so this one's really nice. So I'm just gonna vacuum everything up, clean it up, and then assemble it and carry on. So I'll be back. All right, so we're back again, and I took off all the screws that were having this plate cover like the I guess you could say the motherboard. Now as you can see, it's not too bad. There's really not much dust in here. Usually these little rubber thermal pads, or these little thermal pads, these square ones right here, they look like rubber. Usually these collect dust quite a bit. So it was in a pretty dust-free home. There is some sort of, I think that could be flux. They call it thermal flux, I believe, for when you know, they're doing the soldering for certain components. It's kind of yellow, so it does look like flux. You can see here, I don't know what's up with that. That looks like something. Excuse me. Looks like something spilled in this console at one time, but then there's no like rust. I don't know. So I mean, that's a good thing. It didn't really mess up anything. Sorry, I left the window open. It's a little noisy. But as you can see here, a little bit of dust. I'll vacuum that out, and I'm gonna replace these little pads right here. You see, I'm gonna use some new Cryonaut rubber pads, so I'll use those and replace these. And I believe there's some on the other side as well I have to replace. But yeah, not too much here. Just gonna vacuum, clean that up, and yeah, clean some more stuff up. So I'll see you guys in a little bit again. All right guys, I just took off the little pressure plate that puts pressure on the CPU to the heat sink where the thermal paste is at. So I wanted to clarify, these things are really clean, these little thermal pads that went on these little chips here. Usually these are, like I said, they're dusty, but they look like new, or they don't look very worn, I guess you could say. Either way, I'm gonna toss those and, like I said, re-pad that with different or new pads. So let's see how bad the thermal paste is. We're gonna go ahead and lift this up real quick. Let's see if I could do it. All right, here we go. I haven't lifted this part up yet, so I haven't even seen how the thermal paste looks myself. What's going on here? Okay. The little cord got stuck, so there we go. So as you can see, there really wasn't much thermal paste covering this thing at all. And then there's the rest on there, so I mean, it seems to have good pressure, but a lot of the thermal paste was just pushed out to the side, as you can see, a lot of the excess paste. We'll take a look on this side. There's not really much dust at all. I mean, as I told you guys, this console has never been open. I just took off, well, as far as to my knowledge, it's never been open. I took off the, you can see here, these are the void warranty stickers, unless they put new ones. This is a very clean console internally, just a little bit dust in certain areas. So I'm going to put this down for a moment. We'll take a look at the inside here. So you can see even all the thermal pads stuck to this part of the heat sink. I mean, overall it looks pretty good. I'm gonna, I'm gonna clean off this copper heat sink right here in a little bit. Run the vacuum and get more dust off. Gonna repad those as well when I get the chance. And then I'll show you guys. So I'm gonna use paste, but what mostly I'm gonna use is it's a Cryonaut carbon heat pad, I think it's called. Let me see. So this is what I'm going to use. I'll show you guys again how it looks. It's an ultra high performance carbon thermal pad, and I saw this from another YouTuber. I know he's out of the United States. I forgot what country it is. I want to say it's Australia, but I could be wrong. Either way, I'll show his video, or I'll link in the description along with the other videos I've been using that I use to disassemble the pros and reassemble. But yeah, I'll show more of that in depth when I get to that point. But yeah, you can see not much dust, very clean board, and I'll get back to it. All right, guys, I just want to show you this part. So we took off the the heat sink. As you can see, it's got a decent amount of dust, not too much, could be worse, but does have, well, as you can see, a good amount fell on me. A good amount of blockage there, so of course we're gonna give that a quick vacuum. The actual fan's not too bad, and the thermal paste, I was actually touching it. It still has like a wetness feel, so it's not like completely dried out, but again, it's not really cooling the chip as well as it could be. So yeah, guys, I'll clean this back up and I'll get back to you. All right, so I'm back, guys. I pretty much have fully stripped the PS4 Pro down to its chassis. As you can see here, just the disk drive, and here is the fan. Clean it up a little bit. Probably gonna vacuum it a little bit more, cause still like little dust just kind of caked in there. And I don't know if I showed you guys this in the beginning, but I found this very weird. There was this this like substance or some sort of thing on the inside of the fan. I was able to take it off with the tweezers by like prying at it. Can't really get it focused. Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's not plastic because it's like a brown color. Yeah, it's kind of hard. I don't know what it is, so very interesting. Anyway, I cleaned up the chip as well, so I'll be showing you how that's gonna be going back together, and now it's just a little bit more deep cleaning and then reassembly. Alright guys, so I'm back. So I'm starting to do the reinstall of everything on the Pro. I cleaned out the fan, put it back. I put this metal plate and screwed it in. So now is what I wanted to share with you guys. There is this channel, I'll link in the description, I'll link the video specifically that I used to used as information to do this method. It's not really too crazy, it's not a crazy method. All it is instead of using your standard like thermal paste, in this case I have Thermal Grizzly, which is a pretty good thermal paste. Instead of just putting that on, what we're going to be using is the, let me move some of this. Is this it? No, that's not it. It's right here. And I think I showed you guys in the beginning, this is the Thermal Grizzly carbon thermal pad. So these come in different sizes. I got the largest size, and you can see I already cut a couple pieces. This is from a PS4, which is what I used on that one. Right now it's just downloading stuff, and the fans have really never kicked up since I installed it, the thermal pad on that. And then you know, you can get a couple more cuts in there. So the way you want to cut it to the size of the chip here is you want to get like a piece of paper, right? Something a little thinner. I end up using a little like flash card, but you want to have a piece of paper, and you want to put that whole paper on the chip like so. And then once you put the paper on the chip, you'll use a pencil, and you'll kind of just like outline. You're gonna try to outline the little shape of whatever chip that your PlayStation has the shape of. So in this case it was a little rectangle. You outline it. I cut as best as I could. Now for cutting, I have a kind of like a surgical blade almost. It's an art knife. You can see it's very sharp. So once you do your cutout from the paper, I just cut this with scissors. Once you do your cutout from the paper, you want to line it up on the thermal pad as close as possible. You know, get it so you're not wasting too much thermal pad. And then use the art knife and like just kind of cut it out. This will be sharp enough to cut this if you put enough pressure. And again, once it's finished, you can see I have very shaky hands. It should fit pretty much on the chip. You don't want to have too much overhang. The whole point is that you only want this to cover the chip. If this touches any other part of the console, like say these little I'm not sure if the resistors or transistors or whatever they are, these little other components, it can cause a short circuit and could kill the console. So that's why you want to be careful with this method. But with this method, you don't have to worry about really changing your paste pretty much ever again, because there is no paste. This is a thermal pad, and these last like basically these will basically outlast the console. Let's see here. So it's not too bad. It's a little overhanged on one side. I might try to clean it up a little bit, but so as you can see, it doesn't really stick, it kind of slides around. So in the video, the guy explains that when you install the thermal pad, to kind of keep it in place from sliding around when you're doing the installation, is you want to take thermal paste. In this case, I have my Thermal Grizzly, and you want to paste just a couple small dots in each corner of the chip. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, very small, enough to where the thermal paste will act as a glue in a way and keep that held in. And then that's it. You don't have to put thermal paste over the thermal pad. The thermal pad is the paste and will have the heat transfer from the chip to the heat sink. So that would be the only thing, and I'll show you how it is when installed and all that. So I'm gonna clean this up and I'll be back. Alright guys, just for quick reference, this is what I meant by using the thermal paste. So you basically just want to get the four corners of the chip. I used a very minuscule amount of thermal paste. You only really want to use it just to act as an as a glue or an adhesive to hold this down. So I'm gonna apply it and I'll show you real quick. All right guys, so I have put the thermal pad on, as you can see. It looks so grainy. But yeah, with the adhesive or with the thermal paste in the corners, it's gonna hold it down so it doesn't really move as freely as it would. Kind of just tap it down so it's, you know, stuck to it. Then try to make sure it's flat because it might crinkle up and fold. So just, you know, very lightly, slightly tap on it. You can see it's covered basically the chip. There's a little bit of the chip showing right there. That's why you want to like move it, kind of cut a little too much. I say that's pretty good. So now I'm gonna start reassembly again and we'll go from there. All right, before I do fully start reassembly, I did take thermal pads off of certain areas in on the PlayStation. So I know there's thermal pads that are supposed to go here, 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 and they're supposed to cover these parts here. And you can see these are the ones I took off. Here's a whole new sheet of thermal pads you can see here. I think they're like double-sided, covered by plastic. So this is where I'll use my art knife again. And basically I'm going to cut little squares. So these are, you know, the size of those basically. So I gotta do, looks like 13, because we got 8 here, and we got, oh yeah, 14 because we got 6 and 8. All right guys, just want to show you how this looks. So I put the thermal pads on the little chips, and then I put them on the bottom side, as you saw. You can see brand new ones. These are the old ones. Now these old ones weren't very they weren't brittle or anything. They're still very fresh. Usually when these things are old and brittle, like when you try to fold them, they'll just like disintegrate or break. So these are really good, still in good condition, but I won't need these, so these are gonna go in the trash. And then these are the replacement ones I used. Now, if you ever do get these, you want to make sure that you remove the plastic from both sides. You can see there's a plastic on the front, a plastic film, and a plastic film on the back, just to make sure they don't dry out. You can see those are nice and new, so we'll have those. So I'm gonna start further along the reassembly process, and we'll be back here soon. All right, guys, so we are back. I kind of just skipped quite a bit of the video. So we are here with the PS4 Pro ready assembled. I've been running it for about a little over 2 hours playing God of War. So I just want to do some quick things with you guys. So I want to show you I am playing on a 4K capable TV. As you can see here, for our video output settings, we have the capability to go up to 2160p, which is 4K capable. And we also have I don't think it matters too much because again we're running more of a higher resolution than trying to run a performance mode, but we have boost mode enabled, which allows higher frame rates for some games. And you can see here we are running God of War. So I want to show you that we are on favor resolution mode. You see there, favor resolution, so we are going for the 4K with the 30 frames per second versus 60 frames per second at 1080p, which is going to be more of a stress test on the console to see how well it keeps up with the higher resolution. So you can hear the fan's pretty low right now. Like I said, I've been playing for over 2 hours and it's been very consistent. The highest it gets, it seems like, was when we're on the map, the pause menu on the map. The fan kicks up because of unlocked frame rates here. So your PS4 is basically going to be working its butt off trying to reach the highest possible frame rate on this part of the game, because for some reason developers decided to make the frame rates not capped at 60 frames per second or 30 frames per second, depending on you know, whether you're playing on performance mode or resolution mode. And you can hear the fan kicking up. But other than that, like when you're not on this part, and again, it's about the loudest it gets when on this map part. You can hear it from here. So it gets a decent amount of loud, but it doesn't get like jet engine taking off, you know, taking off to the moon loud or anything like that. And again, that's just on the map. If we go to the armor, you'll hear the fans start to die out real quick. And go back to here. Sorry, I'm playing with one hand. And as you can hear the heat transfer with the carbon pads working really well. The big advantage over the carbon pad is how long it's gonna last. It's gonna last like indefinitely. Basically, will probably outlast the console itself. And then I would say the second upside is when you apply thermal paste to your APU, which is the chip. This would be the chip. This is gonna be the heatsink. When you apply the paste in the middle of them, and you start to screw down the little like pressure plate, what happens is they get together as close as possible, and then they either touch or get close to touching, and all that thermal paste you have in between eventually just gets pushed out, and it doesn't really like cover as much as you want. So like once it pushes out all that excess thermal paste, you're only going to have a very thin layer of thermal paste, you know, making contact from the chip or APU to the heatsink. And when you're playing games like God of War, you know, you're going to heat that thermal paste up really quick, and it's going to have a lot of heat transfer, and that's just going to eventually degrade that thermal paste very quickly when you play games like this. So that's a big advantage to the carbon pads. That's not going to have as fast of a degrade. If anything, they're meant to last like I said, the lifespan of the console or PC, whatever it is you're putting it on. So very good. Again, if you're you know, cleaning up your PS4, make sure you while you're at it, make sure you replace those small little rubber looking thermal pads that go around the components around the APU, and there's some that go on some other electrical components on the PS4 when you open it. You guys will see in the video, I showed it like for a good minute. It was the rubber thermal pads that were pink. Those were the ones I did as new replacements. Well, other than that, guys, not too much else. Just wanted to, you know, show you I'm still alive, and I'll be doing more content on stuff. Most likely I'll be fixing or whatever just kind of comes to mind. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry if it's a little lengthy. Until next time, guys, deuces.